hours a day and pay the keep of your two women. You think that all is well and you are in step, and so you are marching in step like a chain gang, mighty pleased with yourself, trading the good old beaten track. Only, my worthy friends, don't forget you march into calamity. Calamity. Well, there you have my warning. My conscience anyhow is clear, but you need not worry. They are bearing you in mind up there. Look there, and you know that what that means? That's holy terrorist. You
Okay, that's enough, Nada. I will not permit blasphemy. You have been taking liberties, disgraceful liberties with the Creator far too long.
Oh, come now, Judge. Did I say anything about the Creator? I heartily approve of all he does. For I, too, am a judge of my own fashion. I have read books in that I have read in books that it's wiser to be in hand in glove with him than to be his victim. That's more. I doubt if God is really to blame. Once men start upsetting the apple cart and slaughtering each other, you soon discover that God, though he too knows the ropes, is a mere amateur compared with them.
It's rascals of your sort who bring these celestial warnings. For, mark my words, that comet was a warning, but it was meant for those whose hearts are evil. And who of you can say his heart is pure? Therefore, I bid you fear the worst and pray God to pardon your offenses. Then, on your knees, fear Nada, fear and kneel.
It's no use asking me to kneel, my legs too stiff. As for fearing, I'm prepared for everything, even the worst. By which I mean your precious pity.
Do you believe in nothing, wretched man?
In nothing in the world except wine, and nothing in heaven.
O Lord, forgive him, for he knows what he says. And spare this city of thy children.
Meseste, Diego, stand me a bottle at the sign of the comet and tell me how your love affair is progressing. Well, Diego, what do you think of that? Clever, ain't it? No, it's good administration. What's more, I heartily approve of it since its object is to knock the out of everything. How lucky we are to have such a governor. If this budget shows a deficit or is good, lady shares her bet with all and sundry. He just writes off the deficit and turns a blind eye to her going on. Cuckolds. Your wives are faithful cripples you can walk, and you, the blind, can see. Therefore, the hour of truth has struck. Exactly. Gets to all the world, I say, as if only I could have the whole world before me, tense and quivering like a bull in the arena, his small eyes red with fury and the foam on his pink muzzle like a frill of dirty lace. Old as it is, my arm wouldn't falter. I'll slit this spinal cord with one clean cut, and the huge brute would topple over and fall through the abyss of space and time down to the crack of doom. I need nothing. My scorn will see me through till my last hour. And I think on this rotten earth of ours, no king, no comet, no moral code will ever get down. I am above everything now. I have ceased to feel the need of anything. And, and what? My son is honor? Honor is merely a natural phenomenon, past or yet to come, so cut it out. I have told you already, my son, that we are in it already, up to the neck. So abandon hope, the comedy is starting. In fact, I have only just time enough to hurry to the market and drink a bottle to the triumph of death. And
Okay. Nothing is happening. Nothing will happen. Fresh fish. Fresh fish. It's not disaster threatening, but summer coming in. No sooner ends the spring than the golden orange of summer launched across the sky to crown the season of the year, burst above Spain in a shower of honey. Summers of all the world. Butter yellow melons, luscious grapes, figs oozing blood, and apricots aflame pour down in torrents on our market stalls. Here ends their long, swift course in baskets from the countryside, where they drank deep of sweetness and the juices of the soil. Over meadows blue with heat, amid innumerable springs of living water, which, drawn to roots and stems, wound its way to their hearts in a never failing honey to fill them out and making them heavier day by day. Heavier, ever heavier. So heavy that in the end they sank through the limpid air, set to trundling over the lush grass, took ship on rivers, or traveled along roads from the 4 points of the compass, acclaimed by joyful shouts and the clearing calls of summer. So now they throng the cities of men in testimony that the fathering sky has kept its tryst with fertile Mother Earth. No, we have nothing to fear. Summer has come again, bringing largesse, not disaster. Winter ends far ahead. Today we have cheeses sent with rosemary and the gifts of smiling seas, mullets, dories, fresh sardines, and lobsters. The goat's milk froths like soap suds, and on marble slabs, the red meat filled with crisp white butter and redolent of clover, prey offers for men's nourishment blood, and apple sunlight. Here's the flower of the year, the cycle of the seasons repeat their changes. Let's drink. Let's drink ourselves into oblivion. Nothing will happen. Let's become beggars.
okay,
Give
no,
alms, good man. Hey, grandmother, spare a penny.
better now than never.
But of course, nothing happened. Needless to say,
But perhaps something's going to happen. Victoria. Yeah. Okay.
okay,
Okay.
okay. My John Dory's fresh as a daisy, a flower of the sea. What have you got it against me?
Sounds- Uh, yeah. A dogfish indeed. I swear no dogfish ever entered my shop. Not unless you are one yourself, old witch. Get out of here, you old comet. It's been ages since we were together. Yes, but his father was there. It shows how right I was to go and put it straight to him. Mm. I too was near deaf nor blind. I was neither deaf nor blind. But all I heard then was the throbbing of my blood. Swiftly yet suddenly, joy welled up in my heart. City of light, my city, you are mine for life. Until the hour when the earth folds us in her embrace. Tomorrow we shall ride away together, you and I, on the same saddle. It is the wind of the south, and it burns me too. Where is the fountain that will cool its flame? How lovely you are! With what do you wash your hands to make them white as new peeled almonds? Your hair is cool as night. Is it? Like clear water at the night that I've given you the fragrance of a lemon tree in flower? The flowers will fall. Winter will come. When I am lying in the grave and many a century has rolled past, will Mother Earth to ask me, have you forgotten her at last? Not yet, I would reply. But you're silent here. Why is it?
Yeah.
I awake.
हाँ नहीं मैं पढ़ूंगा
Hey,
नहीं
hi.
मैं बस सुनता हूँ ठीक है लाइक क्या हुआ अभी तक क्या हुआ कुछ इंट्रो ओके
The sun, dear lady, the sun, dear lady, was entering the sign of the balance at the hour of your birth. This means that you are under the influence of Venus. The sign in the sun being the bull, which, as we all know, is ruled by Venus. Affectionate, amiable, and impulsive. You should be gratified by this conjunction. Though I bound to warn you that the bill discountenances marriage, and so your charming qualities well may run to waste. Also, I see a conjunction of Venus and Saturn, which likewise disfavors marriage and children. Conjunction augurs queer tastes and may point to stomach trouble later on, but you didn't feel alarmed. All that's needed is to be out in the sun as much as possible. Sunlight not only stimulates the mind and morals, but it also is a sovereign cure for diarrhea. So, my dear young person, be sure to choose your friends among the wolves. And don't forget your disposition is a lucky one. And the coming years have plenty of good things in store for you. In fact, you may look forward to a happy life. My charge is 6 pesetas. You may depend on me. But there's just one thing I have to add. One thing that we're all agreed on. Nonetheless, what has not happened may throw out my horoscope. I'm not responsible for what hasn't happened. Ladies and gentlemen, let me cast your horoscopes. The past, the present, and the future, guaranteed by the fixed stars. The fixed stars, mind you. Or if comets take a hand in, or if comets take a hand in it, I'll have to look around for another job. I might try for the post of governor.
Yeah, a friend who wishes you well, a dark lady smelling of an orange blossom, and a holiday in Madrid, a legacy from an uncle in America. After your after your fair boyfriend dies, lady, you'll be getting a dark letter.
Oh, okay. Open your pretty eyes, sweet lady, and you, my noble lords, lend ear. You have before you the most renowned actors of the whole kingdom of Spain. I have induced them, not without great pains, to leave the court and come to your marketplace, where they now will play for your good pleasure that famous Wallach piece, The Phantoms, by our immortal bard, Pedro de la Riba. I warrant it that it will take your breath away, good people. Such is the genius of our bard. At its first performance, this play was ranked among the greatest masterpieces. And so much did His Majesty the King delight in it that he insisted on having it played before him twice a day, and indeed would be watching it at this very moment. And I not convinced my friends here of the desirability of performing it in this marketplace and making it known to the public of Cadiz, the most enlightened place. So step forward, ladies and gentlemen. The show is going to begin. Fresh fruit, fresh fruit. Come and see the lobster girl, half lobster, half woman. Try out hot sardines straight from the frying pan. Come and see the king of jailbreakers. No prison bars can hold him. Laces and wedding trousseau, fit for queens. Buy my tomatoes, lady. Just sweet and tender as your heart. Painless extractions, your teeth out in a jiffy without a twinge. Come to Pedro. Come to Pedro, the wizard dentist.
Smash everything. Sorry. Okay. Smash everything. Yeah. Smash everything. Make a stew of the tomatoes as make a stew of the tomatoes and the lady's heart. Lock up the king of prison breakers and let's extract the wizard dentist's teeth. Lynch the astrologer who can't predict what's coming to us. Let's roast the lobster girl and eat her. And to hell with everything except what you can drink. You,
Worthy townsfolk, the governor wishes you good day. He's pleased to see you gathered here as usual and carrying on with the activities that ensure the peace and prosperity of Cadiz. I'm glad to see that nothing's changed, for that is as it should be. I like my habits, and change is the one thing I detest.
no, Governor, nothing has changed. As if you poor people can assure you, we live on olives, bread, and onions, and As usual, haven't a penny in our pockets at the end of the month. As for boiled fowl, we have the consolation that others eat it every Sunday. Uh, it never comes our way. This morning there was quite a to do in the town and uh, overhead. There's no denying we were scared. It almost looked as if a change was coming, and all of a sudden we would be forced to live on chocolate creams. Huh. No wonder we were stalled. But thanks to your kindness, Governor, we know that nothing has happened, and our ears misled us. So, like you, we feel at ease again.
Your governor is pleased to hear it. Nothing new is good. Meanwhile, let nothing move. I stand for immobility.
Yes, yes, yes. No, no, no. Let nothing move, good governor, right now. Everything is spinning around us, and that's exceedingly unpleasant. We you would much prefer what is that you said? Mobility, yeah. So let all the movement cease, let everything come to a stop, except wine and folly.
Chorus. Let's everyone do it. Chorus written. Nothing's changed. Nothing's happening. Seasons wheel sedately on their axis and up above. Stars are following their appointed course.
Oh, no. Streaming in the rain, bloodshot eyes. Yeah. Uh, hello. Yeah, वो खत्म हो गया क्या? आवाज नहीं आ रही। Yeah. Damn all movements say we keep it down and under. Let's stay put forever. This happy realm will have no history if we let the honors, if we let the hours glide by without a jolt. Summer, dear sleepy summer, is the season nearest to our hearts because it is the hottest and the thirstiest. The silent theme of the vulture, which has been droning in the background for some minutes, suddenly rises to an ear-splitting stridence, and there are two ponderous thuds. One of the actors on the raised platform, while moving to the front and gesturing, staggers and topples over the edge among the crowd, which surges in on the fallen body. Complete silence follows. No one moves or speaks. A sudden commotion. Diego is thrusting his way through the crowd, which slowly draws apart, revealing the prostrate man. Two doctors come up and examine the body, then moving aside, confabulate excitedly. A young man accosts one of the doctors and in pantomime and asks for an explanation. The doctor makes a gesture of refusal, but the young man is persistent and seconded by the bystanders. Presses him to answer, grips his shoulders, shakes him, and finally grapples with him until their faces are quite close. Their lips almost touching. A gasp, a quick intake of breath is heard, as though the young man was snatching a word from the doctor's mouth. Then he moves away, and after great efforts, as if the word was too big out to go out, ejaculates plague. Everyone sags at the knees and totters. Meanwhile, the word travels from mouth to mouth, louder and louder, faster and faster. While all take to their heels and circle wildly around the dais on which the governor has taken his stand again. The movement quickens, becomes a frantic swirl of agitated bodies, and abruptly all form into groups and remain quite still, while an old priest speaks. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. An ominous conjunction of hostile planets is taking form in the houses of the sky. It forebodes famine, drought, and pestilence for all and sundry.
the women. Yeah, yeah. Didn't you see there was a huge beast fastened on his throat, sucking his blood with a noise like a stomach pump? It was a spider, a big black spider. No, it was a little green spider. No, it was a sea lizard. You didn't see it properly. It was an octopus baby, big as a baby. Diego, where's Diego? There'll be so many dead, and there won't be enough living to bury them. So it's very horrible. The only, if only I could get away. That would be nice. That's it. And for heaven's sake, let's go away.
Are you Victoria?
So, uh, hmm. That's it. That's okay.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So I'll take Victoria. You do sorceress. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Diego, where's Diego? Throughout the scene, the sky teams with signs and wonders, while that siren theme swells and rises, adding to the general alarm. A man runs out of a house screaming, "End of the world is coming! In 40 days, the last trumpet will sound." Another wave of panic sets the crowd, crying after him, "End of the world! The end of the world in 40 days!" While constables of the watch arrest the prophet, a sorceress steps forward, uh, crying herbal remedies.
Here's mint and sage. Here's balm and rosemary. Sal almond paste. Mark my words. These remedies have never ever been known to fail. The cool wind rises as the sun. All raise their heads and gaze up at the sky. The wind. The wind is rising. No plague can stand up to wind. So the worst is over. Take my word for it. But no sooner has she finished speaking than the wall of the siren rises to its shrillest, and two thuds, somewhat nearer and much louder than before, shake the air. Pull down. Those near them totter, then begin to back away from the bodies. Only the sorceress remains, with the two men at their feet, Each has the plague marks on his groin and neck. They writhe convulsively, move their arms feebly, and die while darkness slowly falls on the crowd, which gradually disperses, leaving the corpses lying in the center of the stage. Complete darkness. Lights come on in the church and in the judge's house, while a spotlight plays on the governor's palace. The action shifts from one place to another, beginning at the palace.
Uh, at the
We should.
palace, first Al-Qaeda. Your Honor, the epidemic is developing so rapidly that we have no hope of fighting it. The contamination is far more widespread than people realize, but I wanted to suggest it would be wiser to keep them in ignorance. In any case, it is the outlying districts that are most affected. These are congested areas and inhabited by the poor classes. Tragic as is the present state of things, this is something to be thankful for.
This is like coronavirus, dude. Huh? At the
Yeah,
church,
this seems very similar, very similar.
at the church, the priest approach and let each one confess in public the worst thing he has done. Open your hearts, you who are damned. Evil you have done and thought of doing, or else the poison of sin will strike you and will lead you into hell as surely as the tentacles of the plague. I accuse myself for my part of having often lacked in charity.
At the palace. Three pantomimed confessions occur during the following dialogue. The governor, all will be well. The annoying thing is that I was to go hunting. These things will always happen when one has important business. What shall I do? First, I killed. Do not
Not
by any means miss the hunt. Sorry, sorry.
if only to set an
Khan?
example. What a scream bro you can show in adversity at the church,
The, congr- uh,
the
the
congregation.
congregation. We have left undone those things which we ought to have done, and done those things which we ought not to have done. But thou, O Lord, have mercy upon us. The judge's house.
The judge,
Yeah.
surrounded by his family, reading from the Psalms. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God. Surely shall He deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence.
Casado, can we go out?
No, woman, you've gone on far too much in your life, and that has not brought us happiness.
Victoria has not come home, and I can't help feeling that some evil thing has happened to her.
You showed no fear of evil when you yourself were concerned, and thus you betrayed your honor. Now you must now oasis of calm, while the storm rages all around. We shall ride long to so long as the plague lasts, and if God is willing, we shall escape the worst.
You're right, Casado, but we are not alone in the world. Others are out in the storm. Victoria may be in danger.
Let them be, and think of the household of your son, for instance. Get in all the stores you can lay hands on, and never mind the price. Make, make a hoard. He's my refuge and my fortress.
At the quiet. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday.
A
No.
voice. O great and terrible God, the marketplace is
Hmm.
inquire.
Thou hast signed in the sand, thou hast written in the sea. Nothing endures but misery. Enter Victoria.
And
A spotlight plays on the page on the scene that follows. Victoria. Okay. Uh,
Diego,
the, continue. Busy with the sick, he's doctoring all who ask his aid. Moving across the stage, Victoria runs into Diego, who is wearing the fake doctor's mask. She swerves aside with a little cry of fear.
Is Aditya ready?
Is it ready? 2 minutes, okay.
Mute, mute. Okay, okay. You play Diego, I'll go Victoria.
Yeah, okay. Do I scare you so much, Victoria?
Oh, it's you, Diego. At last I found you. Pick up that ugly mask and grasp me in your arms. Hold me tightly as I keep safe from everything. What is it? Has something changed between us? For hours and hours I've been hunting for you everywhere. I was so horribly afraid. Now I found you. You're wearing that mask. A ghastly reminder of the disease. Please take it off and hold me in your arms. He takes off the mask. When I see your hands, my mouth is parched. He does not move. Oh, Diego, whisper. I'm dying of thirst. Have you forgotten that? I just have vowed away for this day to come. The day when you were going to kiss me with all your might. Please, Diego.
I'm torn with pity for these poor people, Victoria.
So am I. And I have pity for us too. That's why I've been searching for you, calling out your name in all the streets and stretching my arms out, longing for your embrace.
No, don't touch me.
Why not?
I feel like another man, a stranger to myself. I have never been afraid of any human being, but that's happening now. But what's happening now is too big for me. Even honor is nowhere. I'm losing grip of everything I clung to. No, please keep away. All I know, I have the infection already and might pass it on to you. Wait a little. Give me time to get my breath. All this horror is stifling me. Why I have even lost the knack of laying hold of men as to turn them over, turn them over on they turn them over on their beds. My hands shake too much, and I'm half blinded by my pity. You hear? They're calling for me. I must go help. I must go help them. And all I ask, Victoria, is that you take great care of yourself for the sake of both of us. We shall see it through. I'm certain.
Do not leave me.
All this will end like a bad dream. It must. I'm too young and I love it too much. I loathe the very thought of death.
With a quick, impulsive movement towards him. But I, Diego, I am living.
How shameful, Victoria, the disgrace of it.
What do you mean? What is there to be ashamed of?
I believe that I'm afraid. Again, a sound of groans. He hurries away in their direction. The townsfolk are seen again moving to the rhythm of a copla chorus. You do the thing.
Who is wrong and who is right? Truth is but surmise. Death and that alone is sure, all the rest is lies.
Spotlights on the church and the governor's palace. Psalms and prayers in the church from the palace. And the first alcade, Akil Harungus the populace. I'll do the first one, and you do the woman. Okay.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. These are the governor's orders as a sign of penitence regarding the calamity that has befallen us, and for the prevention of contagion. All public gatherings and entertainments are forbidden from now on. Also,
There.
women.
Look there. These people are hiding a corpse. It shouldn't be allowed. We'll all catch the infection. Why didn't they go and bury it?
Then in conclusion, 2 men stop forward and lead away the woman. Okay. I am instructed also to let you know that the governor has taken the best medical advice and is now in position to reassure our townsfolk as to the probable course of this epidemic that has broken out so unexpectedly. The doctors agree that all that is needed is for a sea wind to rise and it will sweep away the plague. So, with God's help, two tremendous thuds cut him short, followed a moment later by two more. Meanwhile, the death knell tolls incessantly, and a sound of prayers issues from the church. Then all sound cease abruptly, and in a startled hush, all eyes turn toward two approaching figures. Strangers to the town, a man and a woman. The man is fat, bareheaded, and wears a sort of uniform on which hangs a medal. The woman, too, is in uniform with white cuffs and collar. She is carrying a notebook. They walk forward to the palace and salute the governor.
What do you
So,
want, strangers?
your post.
What's that? What did he say?
This pleasantry is ill-timed, my man, and your impertinence may cost you dear, but probably we misunderstood your words. Who are you?
Ah, that you'd never guess.
I don't know who you are, stranger, but I do know where you will end up.
You filled me with alarm. What do you think, my dear? I should really tell them who I am.
Well, as a rule, we break it to them more gradually. Of course,
No doubt they have their reasons. After all, we are visitors here, and it's up to us to conform to the customs of the country.
very true, but might it not trouble the minds of these good people if we declare ourselves?
Better a little trouble than a discourteous act.
Neatly put. Still, I must say I feel scruples.
You have the choice of two alternatives.
I'm listening.
Either you speak out or you don't. If you do so, they'll know at once. If you don't, they'll find out later.
Nothing could be clearer.
That's enough of it. However, before proceeding to extreme measures, I call on you for the last time to tell me who you are and what you want.
I am the plague, if you really must know.
What's that you said? The plague?
Yes, and I must ask you to hand over your post to me. I hate having to rush you like this. Please take my word for it, but I shall have a lot to do here. Suppose I give you 2 hours to transfer your functions to me. Will that be enough? Do you think that would be enough?
This time you've gone too far, and you will be punished for this outrageous conduct. Officers of the watch,
Wait, wait. I should dislike having to use coercion. Indeed, it's a principle with me always to to behave in a gentlemanly way. I quite understand that my conduct may surprise you, and of course, you don't know me yet. But quite sincerely, I hope you will transfer your functions to me without forcing me to show off what I am capable of. And to take my word for it,
I have no time to waste. This tomfoolery has not lasted long enough. Arrest that man.
I suppose there is no alternative. Still, I must say it goes against the grain. My dear, would you proceed to an elimination points to an officer of the watch. The secretary briskly crosses out on an entry on a book. A dull thud. The officer of the watch falls. The secretary scrutinizes him.
All correct, Your Honor. 3 marks are there. 1 mark, and you are under suspicion. Two and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Which, uh, yeah,
yeah.
because, yeah.
The
So, let's,
plague,
okay.
rather.
So, let's continue. Wait. Page is- the man's dialogue. I was forgetting to introduce my secretary to you. That's the last one. First dialogue ये है कि I'm listening. थोड़ा सा, not much. हाँ, थोड़ा I'm just thinking बस end हो रहा है लास्ट के दो डायलॉग्स बाकी हैं but okay okay secretary Khan.
All correct, Your Honor. 3 marks are there. 1 mark and you're under suspicion. 2 and you're infected. 3 and the elimination takes effect. Nothing could be simpler.
I was forgetting to introduce my secretary to you. As a matter of fact, you know her, though perhaps her sick misleads you. And of course, one meets to so many people doesn't work.
Oh, I wouldn't blame them for
Uh,
that. They always recognize me in the end.
a sunny temperament, as you see, always smiling, punctual, trim, and tidy.
That's nothing to my credit. The work's so much easier when one's surrounded by fresh flowers and smiles.
How true. But let's return to our immediate business. Have I made it sufficiently clear that you would do well to take me seriously? You don't reply. Well, I can understand your feelings. I started you just now, but I can assure you it was most distasteful. I have to take that line, and I would have much preferred a friendly arrangement based on comprehension on both sides and guaranteed by your word and mine. A gentleman's agreement, as they call it. Indeed, even now it's now not too late for that. Would 2 hours suffice for the formalities of handing over? How tiresome, obviously.
Yes, obviously, he's one of those obstinate men. What a nuisance.
I particularly want to get your consent. In fact, it could run counter to my principles. If I took any steps before securing your approval, my charming secretary will proceed to make as many eliminations as are needed to persuade you to cooperate, of your own free will, of course. And the small reforms I have in mind, are you ready, my dear?
My pencil's blunt. Just give me time to sharpen it, and it will be all for the best in the best of possible worlds.
Ah, how I would loathe my job if it wasn't for your cheerfulness.
The, the perfect secretary is sure that everything can always be put right. That there's no muddle in the accounts that can't be straightened up in time. Nothing that can't be made again. No cloud but has a silver lining, as they say. Even war has its disadvantages, and even cemeteries can turn out to be paying propositions if the grants in perpetuity years or so.
Aditya,
You play the
you
government.
take, yeah, हाँ हाँ yeah. So Aditya, you do the man. I'll do the governor. Perfect,
Okay.
perfect.
How right you
Covered.
are. Well, is your pencil sharp enough? Fire away then. He points to Nada, who just steps forward. Nada lets out a drunken guffaw. Very true. In that case, let's choose one of the alcaldes.
Stop.
Can I do anything to oblige you, Governor?
Suppose I let you take my place. Just suppose that. Will the lives of my family and the Ackles be spared?
Why, of course. That, as you know, is customary.
Citizens of Cadiz, I feel assured I feel sure you understand that a great change has come into our civic life. In your own interest, it may be best that I should entrust the city to this new authority that has sprung up in our midst. Indeed, I have no doubt that by coming to an arrangement with this gentleman, I shall be sparing you the worst, and moreover, will have the satisfaction of knowing that a government exists outside your walls which may be of service to you in the future. Need I tell you that in speaking thus, I am not thinking of my personal safety, but
Excuse my interrupting. But I should be grateful if you would make a public declaration that you are entering into this excellent arrangement of your own free will, and there is no question of any sort. The governor looks at the man, the secretary raises her pencil to her lips.
Yes, yes, that's understood. Of course, I'm making this agreement of my own free will. Yes.
The man, be good enough to say, I need someone who has the confidence of the citizens and will act as my mouthpiece for take or for making known my wishes. You agree, I take it. My dear? Excellent. And that's settled. Will you be kind enough to adhere to the alcaldes to promulgate to these good people so that they may start living under straight road?
Okay. Okay. Yeah. But I haven't drawn up anything yet. Quite so. All the same. Might I know the point of all this rigmarole? Or-
And he has every right to do so. Remember that, good people. He is the government, and governments must be protected. What can that matter to you? Plague or governor, the government goes on.
I'll do the chorus. Our masters used to say that they would protect us, but now we are forsaken. Hideous fogs are hideous fogs are gathering at the four corners of the town, swamping the fragrance of the fruit and the roses, tarnishing the luster of the season, deadening the joys of summer. Alas, poor Cadiz, city of the sea, only yesterday and the south wind, desert born and wafting into us perfumes of the gardens of Africa, was sweeping across the straits, breathing its warmth languorous into our maidens' hearts. But now the wind has stopped, and nothing else could purify our city. Our man was right. Something is happening, and we are in the thick of it. We must escape while there is yet time, before the gates are closed on our calamity. Uh, uh, Let us make haste to those that still are open. We are the sons of the sea. Away, away! The sea is calling us to happy places without walls or gates, to shores where virgin sands are cold as maidens' lips, and where our eyes grow dazzled gazing seaward. Let us go forth to meet the wind. Away, away to the sea, to the untrammeled waves, to clean, bright water, the shining winds of freedom. Just thinking for this. The sea, the sea, the sea will save us. What cares the sea for wars and pestilences? The governments can come and go, but the sea endures. How many governments has it engulfed? And how simple are its gifts? Red mornings and green sunsets, and from dusk to dawn the murmur of innumerable waves under the dome of night fretted with myriads of stars. O vast sea spaces, shining solitude, baptism of brine, after the lone beside, are to be alone beside the sea, facing the blue expanse, fanned by the winding and free at the lights of a city sealed like a tomb. And, and these all too human faces, cramped by fear. Away, away! Who will deliver me from man and oppressed him? How happy was I but a little while ago at the summit of the earth, taking my ease among the fruits, where nature was kind and smiling on me. I loved the world, Spain, and I were at one. But no longer can I hear the sound of the waves. All around a panic insults, cowardice. Cowardice. My brothers are sodden with fear and sweat, and my arms are too weak to succor them. Who will give back to me the waters of forgetting, the slumberous smoothness of the open sea, its liquid pathways, long furrows that form and fold upon themselves? The sea, to the sea, to the sea before the gates are shut.
Take, take care. Keep clear of that man who was just beside the corpse. Keep away. Don't come near. Quick. Get what's needed in the mattress and the bird cage. No, and don't forget the dog's collar and the pot of mint as well. We might munch it on our way to the sea. Be careful. Don't let people see our food. This bread is for my children, not for those who call themselves my brothers when they want something off me. Quick, quick, only one gate left.
Yeah.
The plague moves faster than we. Wants us to cut wants to cut us off from it. Out there the nights are calm, stars glide above the maced head, mirrored in the blue. What's the plague after in the city? He wants to keep us in his clutches. For in his fashion. He wants us to be happy, not in the way we like, but in the way that he approves of. Is cold comfort, convict happiness. Everything is turning hard and dry. No longer do we feel the cool kiss of the wind upon our lips. Lastly, and this will be the summing up, Standing in front of the first alcalde, the plague and the secretary exchange smiles and looks of self-satisfaction. So as to avoid contagion through the air you breathe, and since words are carriers of infection, each of you is ordered to keep permanently in his mouth a pad soaked in vinegar. From the disease, but teach you discretion and the art of silence. From now on, everyone has a handkerchief in his mouth, and the number of voices steadily diminishes, as does the volume of the background music. Beginning with several voices, the chorus ends with that of a single speaker, and finally there is a pantomime, during which the lips of all are puffed out and firmly closed. The last gate is slammed to.
The last gate is shut, and we are locked up together. We and the plague. We can hear nothing anymore, and henceforth the sea is out of reach. Sorrow is our companion. We can only turn in dreary circles within this beleaguered city, cut off from the sounds of leaves and water, prisoned and behind tall, smooth gates. So now, beset with howling crowds, Cadiz will become a huge red and black arena in which ritual murders are to be enacted. Brothers, our plight is surely greater than our sin. We did not deserve this imprisonment. True, our hearts were not innocent. Still, we greatly love the world of nature and its summers. Surely that might have saved us from this doom. The winds have failed, the city is empty. For a long while we shall be silent, but for the last time, the last, before fear gags our mouths for many a long day, let us lift our voices in the desert. Phones then silent. Yeah, We're halfway through. Yeah, me too.
ये
Yes.
एक्ट वन था क्या? ये एक्ट वन था क्या? Okay, and how many parts are there? Three parts. Okay.
Three. But we're halfway through the halfway through to the document.
One third, right?
Hmm. In document आधा कर. Yeah. 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 See. Welcome back. Yeah, that table read of pastimes at something high school. Harsh, शाया लबू को देख के मैं सिर्फ उसी को देख रहा था. Like everybody is like सूट्स पहन कर आए हैं लोग and uh, yeah. Yeah, and he didn't even miss any of the cues. I thought अगर अगर एक दो क्यू मिस हुआ कितना बड़ा वो होगा ब्लंडर. इधर नहीं.
Yes, let's go.
Okay, where were we? Curtain. Yeah, yeah. Second part. Aditya. Okay. So second part पढ़ रहे हैं. Okay.
Hmm.
A public square in Cadiz, stage left, the cemetery entrance and keeper's office, stage right, a wharf near which is the judge's residence. When the curtain rises, grave diggers in convict uniform are collecting dead bodies. The creaking of the dead cart is heard off stage. Presently, it comes into view and halts in the center of the stage. The convicts load the bodies onto it, and it creaks off towards the cemetery. As it halts at the entrance, a military band starts playing, and one wall of the cemetery office sides open, enabling the audience to see the interior. A large roof-in vestibule resembling the covered playground of a school. The secretary is sitting there, presiding, while at a lower level are aligned to some tables are like those in food offices where ration cards are distributed. At one of the tables, the white mustached first Ackles is seated with some other members of the staff. On the other side of the stage, plague guards are rounding up the crowd and herding them toward the food office. Men and women are being kept apart. A light plays on the center, and the plague is seen on the summit of his palace, directing a gang of workers for the most part concealed from view, though we have occasional glimpses of their activities on the outskirts. The plague. Aditya, you take plague. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now then, don't dawdle. It's really scans move in the stuff. I never saw such a pack of fighters. Leisure is what you like, that's evident. But I don't stand for inactivity except in barracks and in breadlines. Suits my book. It drains the energy from heart and limbs and serves no purpose. Get a move on. Finish building my observation tower and put a hedge of barbed wire round town. Everyone has the spring flowers he prefers. Mine are iron roses. Stroke of the death events. There are standbys. Guards, affix our stars to the houses where I'm going to get busy. New my dear, start compiling our lists and drawing up our certificates of existence. Exit the plague.
What's the idea, you say? Why could you live without a certificate of existence? That's because you weren't governed. Now you are. The whole part of our government is that you shall always need a permit to do anything, whatever. You can dispense with bread and with a wife, but a properly withdrawn certificate, no matter what it says, is something you can't possibly dispense with. सीए हो गया, आधार कार्ड, सब कुछ है ये तो। हाय हाय। A voice called
I know. Years and years, from father to son, we have been butchers, and we never need a certificate for slaughtering sheep.
You are living in a state of anarchy, that's all. Mind you, you have nothing against slaughterhouses, quite the contrary. Only we applied to them the latest methods of accounting. We have brought them up to date, in short. There was some mention of casting nets just now. Well, you'll discover that we too are experts in that line. Now, Miss First Cycles, have you the forms ready?
Quite ready.
Officers, you will help the gentleman to come forward.
The fisherman is led up to the table, reading. Family name, Christian names, occupation,
Let that be. You can fill in the blanks themselves.
your curriculum vitae, fisherman.
You have to record on the dotted line of the chief events of your life. It's a way of becoming acquainted with you. Your private concern, you say? Those words don't mean nothing to us. What interests us is in your public life, and that is a matter of fact is the only life you are allowed to have, uh, allowed by us to have. Well, Mr. Akul, let's get down to details.
Married, the reasons for the marriage,
It's in the rules, and it's an excellent way of making public what has got to cease being private.
divorced, remarried.
Why not? Why not? How quiet. Maybe know why. Yes, in a well-organized community.
Your record,
Have you been convicted of robbery, perjury, or rape? An upright man. I suspected as much. Mr. First Circle, please add a footnote. To be watched.
civic feelings.
That's not a proper answer to the question.
Oh, that anyhow I can explain. What we call civic feelings, needless to say, are in my line. You want to know, my good fellow, if you are one of those who respect the existing order for the sole reason that it exists.
Doubtful. Right, that civic feelings are doubtful. And now read the last question.
Deciphering the words with difficulty. Reasons for existing?
It's quite simple, surely. You must state your reasons for being alive. Make a note, Mr. Cycle. The undersigned admits that his existence is unjustifiable. That will simply matters when the time comes for us to deal with him. Also, that will bring it to him to you. To the undersigned that the certificate of existence granted to you is temporary and of short duration. By all means. Well, you must begin by submitting to us a certificate of health. We can procure this after complying with some formalities on the first floor. Department of Current Affairs, Bureau of Pending Cases, Auxiliary Division.
I'll play Nada. But damn it all. I tell you, I'm not dead. They try to replace him on the cart, but he breaks loose and runs into the food office. Did you ever hear the like telling me I'm dead when I'm alive and kicking? Oh, pardon.
Don't mention it. Come.
They loaded me onto the cart, but I wasn't dead, only dead drunk. My way of suppressing.
Suppressing what?
Why everything, my dear young lady? The more one suppresses, the better things are. One could suppress everything and everyone, wouldn't it be fine? Lovers, for instance. There's nothing I loathe more. When I see a loving couple in front of me, I spit at them. On their backs, of course, some of them might turn nasty. And children, filthy little brats. Like half-wits and rivers that have only one idea. So let's annihilate everything, I say. That's my philosophy. I deny God. Long live nothing, for it's the only thing that exists.
How do you propose to suppress all that?
By drinking till I'm blind to the whole damned world.
A clumsy way of going about it. You have a better one. What's your name?
Nothing.
What?
Nothing.
I asked you to
Nada
tell.
is
I
expense.
asked you to tell me your name.
That is my name.
Fine. With a name like that, we should get on well together. Come this way. We'll find you a job in our administration. Mr. Oracle, would you please instruct our friend nothing in his duties? Meanwhile, the guards get busy selling our badges. Good day. Would you like to buy a badge?
What badge?
Why? The plague badge, of course. You are free to refuse it, of course. It's not compulsory.
In that case, I refuse.
Very good. And you? Um, and what is that? Sorry. Quite so, but I feel I should inform you that those who refuse to wear that badge are obliged to wear another. Why the badges of those who refuse to wear the badge, obviously. That way we see at once whom we have to deal. Goodbye. Then for the present. Well, fisherman. Acha. That goes without saying. Well, it proves that the city is beginning to reap the benefits of a strong administration. You start with the premises that you are guilty, but that's not enough. You must learn to feel yourself that you are guilty, and you won't feel guilty until you feel tired. So we weary you out. That's all. Once you are all really tired to death, in fact, everything will run quite smoothly. Well, it really looks as if you couldn't. You see, you need to get a certificate of health first before you are given a certificate of existence. It's sort of a deadlock, isn't it? Then you have to fall back on our goodwill. But like most sorts of goodwills, ours is of limited duration. Thus, we may grant you the certificate as a special favor. Only I warn you, it will be valid for 1 week only. After that, we'll see. See if there are reasons for renaming it for you. Since there is then no proof of your existence, we may have to take steps for your further elimination. Akal, would you draw up the certificate? 13 copies, please.
You
Uh,
go and just
I'll just be right back in.
yeah. Uh, are there other people? Oh, there are two. Okay. Where were we? Yeah, 13. Yes, one for the applicant and 12 for our files. It's underway, all is for the best, and I think these good people are getting to understand me. An excellent slogan, yes. It's the women making a demonstration. That is, where's my husband? He didn't come home last night, but my husband isn't that sort of a man. He respects himself. Surname and Christian name? The secretary inspects your writing pad and whispers in the flakes ear. Well, you may congratulate yourself. He's alive and well looked after. In a palatial residence where the company is select. What have you done to them? Pity, pity on me. The cost of living has gone up and our wages aren't enough to live on. Good. What sort of raise can we expect? Hmm. Hmm. That sounds fine. But what raise exactly can we count on? But what the hell can we do with our new wage scale? Where can I wipe my hand? But I can't stay like this. Good. What? Good in what way? But I don't know the first thing about either of them. That's really kind of them. I'm much obliged. But but what's the idea then? They have re-questioned my house, and a government office has been installed in it, but I haven't anywhere to live. Though they promised me, though they promised to find me a new house. Yes, but I have been told to submit an application through the usual channels, and meanwhile, my children haven't have a roof, had a roof over their heads. But will it go through quickly? What exactly is needed? My children haven't anywhere to sleep. Surely that's urgent enough for anyone. I've never heard such talk. The devil may know what it can mean. I don't. ये नाडा या नरेंद्र मुझे बहुत relatable है. Justice means that children have enough to eat and are sheltered from the cold. That my little ones can live. When I brought them into the world, the good earth was their birthright, and the sea gave the water for the baptism. That's all the wealth they need. I ask nothing more for them than their daily bread and poor people's right to sleep nights. Little enough indeed, but you deny it to them. And if you deny the poor their daily bread, no luxury, no fine speeches, no wonderful promises you can ever want, ever earn your forgiveness. So you do chorus, I'll do Vivo. And, Yeah.
I'm back. I'm back. I was
Oh,
missing.
okay. So, okay. We are afraid. Only the wind would rise. Only once we were people. Once we were a people, and now we are a herd. Once we were invited, now we are summoned. Once we could buy and sell our milk and bread, now we are rationed. We queue up and wait our turns. We toe the line, but for no one can do anything for his neighbor. We can only wait in the line at the place assigned us. What is the use of crying out? No longer have women those flower-like faces that set our hearts aflame with desire. And Spain is no longer. Line up, line up. Keep your places. No joy is left in life. Just stifling to death. In this prison house that was once a city, only if the wind would rise.
I am the plague. They've learned wisdom. Come, Diego, now that you have understood. Innocence? That's a new one on me. I am the stronger, you poor innocent. Look, run after him. Don't let him escape. A man who runs away is ours. Put the marks on him.
He's running away. He's afraid and admits it. He has lost all self-control. He's crazy. But we know better. We have come to our senses. We are ruled, and the state looks after us. And yet, in the dubious silence of the offices, sometimes we hear a long, restrained cry. The cry of hearts that are separated, and it tells if sunlit seas at noon, the fragrance of reeds at nightfall, the sweet embraces of our women. Our faces are sealed up, our steps counted, our hours fixed, and yet our hearts reject this silence of the grave. They reject the never-ending forms to be filled out, the miles and the miles of walls, barred windows, and day breaks bristling with guns. They reject these things as does he, who is fleeing from this setting of shadows and numbers, seeking a house for refuge. But the only refuge is the sea, and the walls cut us off from it. Let the sea let the sea wind but rise, and at last we shall breathe freely. Do you guys feel to a house? Diogo has fled into a house. The guards halt at the door and post sentries outside. Okay.
Brand them. Brand them all. Even what they do not say makes itself heard. They can no longer raise their voices in protest, but their silence grates on our ears. Smash their mouths, gag them, din our slogans into them, until they too are saying of the same thing over and over again, until they become good citizens of the kind we need, a cataract of slogans, raucous as if they were issued from loudspeakers, forced down from the skies, growing louder and louder with each reiteration until it drowns the muttering of the chorus. Abruptly, silence falls. One plague, one people. Concentrate, execute orders, keep busy. One good plague is worth two freedoms. Report and torture. There'll always be something left. Lights go on.
And Diego. Okay.
Okay.
No, father, you can't hand over our old servant just because they said she's infected. Haven't you forgotten how good she was to me when I was a child and how loyally she has served you all her life?
I've made my decision and it's not for you or anyone else to question it.
You cannot have the last words always. Grief too, grief too should have a hearing.
My duty is to watch over this house and to see that the disease is not allowed to enter it.
Who gave you leave to enter?
Who gave you leave to enter? Running away? No, you have it with you. He points to the mark on Diego's armpit, a short silence, then police whistles. Then police whistles are heard in the distance. I cannot permit you to remain here. As judge, I am a servant of the law and must obey it. I do not serve the law because of what it says, but because it is the law. Crime becomes the law, it ceases being crime. As you say, virtue must be punished if it is so presumptuous as to break the law.
Kisado, it's not the law that's making you behave like this. It's fear.
Isn't that man too afraid?
But he has not yet played the traitor.
He will. Fear always leads to betrayal, and everyone feels fear because nobody is pure.
Father, I belong to this man. You have given your consent to it. You cannot rob me of him today after having given him to me yesterday.
I never consented to your marriage. I consented to your leaving us.
Yes, I always knew you didn't love me.
All women disgust me. What is it?
God, I'll do that. Okay. This house is put in quarantine as harboring a suspect, and all its occupants are under close surveillance.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
Hmm.
okay. They've boarded up the door.
Yes, we're in quarantine.
That's his fault. Anyhow, I shall report him to the authorities. Then they will open the house.
Father, you can't do that. Your honor forbids you.
Honor is practiced between men, and there are no men left in this city. Whistles out.
Diego, that's cowardly.
Promise, Casado. Promise this madman that you'll do what he wants. Don't listen to her. You know quite well she hates her brother. She's right. It's of no concern to us of ours. And you too hate my son. Your son, as you rightly say. Oh, how vile of you to rake up something that was forgiven years ago. I did not forgive. I complied with the law, and in the eyes of the law, that boy is my son. Is this true, mother? So you too despise me.
No, it's no. Only it's as if the bottom had dropped out of the world. I knew, and everything was falling in ruins. My mind is reeling. To this.
Oh, please, Diego, don't act hastily. Don't behave like one whose heart has turned to stone. Only wait, and it will soften. Wait, I beg you. You do as Diego wishes, don't you? Keep silent. It is your envy speaking from the black pit of your heart. You, at least, you whose life is drawing to a close. Surely you've learned that nothing on this sad earth is enviable but tranquility and sleep. And you will sleep badly in your solitary bed if you let this monstrous thing be done. I have the law on my side, and the law will in my rest. I spit on your law. I want my side the right of lovers not to be parted, the right of the criminal to be forgiven, the right of every penitent to recover his good name. Yes, I spit on your law and all its works. Had you the law on your side, and you made these cowardly excuses to be the captain, to the captain who challenged you to a duel after you had made a false declaration so as to escape your military service? Was the law on your side when you asked that girl who is suing a dishonest employer to sleep with you? Keep silent, woman.
Yes, mother, please, please stop.
No, Victoria, I must have my say. I have kept silence all these years for the sake of my honor and for the love of God. But honor has left the world, and the single hair of that child's head is dearer than heaven itself. I shall not hold my peace. And I will say to this man, my husband, that he has never had justice on his side. But justice, do you hear, Casado, is on the side of the sufferers, the afflicted, those who live by hope alone. It is not and can never be with those who count their pennies and cling to their miserable hoard. No wish to hide my sin. No, no, I'll cry it on the rooftops. Abject as I am, this much I know. That if the flesh has its lapses, the heart has its crimes. And what is done in the heat of passion should be met with pity. Why not? Bitches too have a belly for their pleasure and their parturition. Arguments are worthless. I shall denounce the young man who has brought all this trouble upon us. And I shall do it with the greater satisfaction since I shall be not only carrying out the law, but also giving vent to my hatred.
So at last the truth is out. More shame to you. Always you have judged in terms of hatred, though you masked it with the name of law. Does even the best laws, does even the best laws took a bad taste in your mouth? The sour mouth of those who have never loved anything in their lives. Oh, I'm suffocating with disgust. Come, Diego, take me in your arms and let's rot together. Let that man live. Life is punishment for life is punishment enough for him. I feel as you do. I could die of shame.
The time has come when the buboes have got to burst, and we are not the only ones. The whole city is in the grip of the same fever. You bitch! You judge!
Okay.
Orders have been given to the district wardens to see to it that all the citizens under their charge vote for the new government.
That won't be too easy. Okay. Quite likely some will vote against it.
No, not if we use the right method.
The right method.
The right method is to declare that the voting is free, which means that votes cast in favor of the government are freely given. As for the others, account must be taken of the pressure brought to bear on voters to prevent their voting of their own free will. Thus, votes of this kind will be counted in accordance with the preferential method. That is to say, votes on the same ticket for candidates belonging to different parties will be assimilated to the quota of the uncast votes in the ratio of one third of the votes eliminated. Is that quite clear?
Quite clear. Well, I think I'm have an inkling of what you mean.
In that case, I congratulate you, Algal. However, whether you understand or not, don't forget The practical effect of this admirable use of applied mathematics is to cancel out all votes unfavorable to the government.
But didn't you say the voting was free?
And so it is. Only we base our system on the principle that a vote against us isn't a free vote, it's a mere romantic gesture, conditioned by prejudice and bias.
Well, I would have never thought of that.
That's because you've never really grasped what freedom means.
Yeah, I was. Do not leave me. A man's duty is to stand by those who he loves. We will see this through together. Was there to prevent you respecting yourself. For heaven's sake, our love's, for our love's sake, dear, don't talk like that, or I'll let you see the ugly truth, the cow that I really am. For you are mistaken. I'm not as brave as you think you are. I am. All my courage wills when I think of of the time when I could feel I was yours, body and soul. How far away it seems that time when I felt love welling up in my heart like a tempestuous flood. Whenever anybody spoke your name, and when I had a thrill of happy triumph, like a sailor who has made his landfall. Whenever I saw you coming toward me, yes, I'm losing a grip. I feel like sinking to the ground. All my courage is dying of a cowardly regret. If somehow I still keep on my feet, it's the momentum of my love carrying me blindly on. If you were to go out of my life, I would stop dead. I would fall and never rise again. Come,
I'll play the secretary. What are you up to, you two?
we're making love. Can't you see?
Shh, some words must not be spoken. You should have known that was forbidden. Forbidden. Look, so far you were only under suspicion. Now you are infected. Such a pity. Such a good-looking lad. Sorry, but frankly, I prefer men to women. I get on with them so much better. Good evening.
Stop! You're hurting me. With you, yes, but never against you. I love the look of fear and hatred you have now. Let me go. Leave me free to discover you in the love that was once yours, and then my heart will speak again. But Diego, I will follow you to hell if need be. My Diego has come back. I, I feel my limbs quivering against yours. Kiss me, and crush back the cry that rises from the depths of my body, forcing its way up through my lips. Ah, take me in your arms again. It's with cold that I am trembling now. A moment ago, The breast was burning my hands, and the blood ran like wildfire through my veins. Now, come back, Diego. All I want is to be consumed by the same fever, to die of the same wound, and to join my life's cry with yours. If you must die, I'll envy you the chains that wraps your body. I can still be with you, Diego, if only you keep your love for me. No, Diego, do not talk of using me. Oh, I've seen quite well what they are after. They do all they do all they can to make love impossible. But I'll defeat them, for I am stronger than they are. There's no flaw in my armor. My love is all my life. I fear nothing now. I fear nothing now. Even were this even were the skies to fall, I should go down to death crying out my happiness. If only I still had your hand in mine, rising distance. Of their cries, my ears are sealed against them. My eyes see nothing. Love has dazzled them. When is the utmost I can do to bear the weight of my love? I can. How can you ask me to take on my shoulders the burden of the sorrows of the world as well? No, that's a man's idea of duty. One of those preposterous crusades you men engage in as a pretext for evading the one struggle that is truly arduous, the one victory of which you can that you could be the one victory of which you could be rightly proud. The anguish that you have within yourself, master that, and all the rest will follow. You are not alone. I stand beside you, and I am armed for the fight. How literally you would fear if only you would consent to love me. The one who has no fear. My heart is fearless. It burns with a single steady flame of pillar of fire, like those beacon fires with which our mountaineers hail each other on midsummer's night. And it too conveys a message. It is calling you. It is our midsummer's night. Chandel house, a mountain top. How can that affect my love? My love, anyhow, is benign. It does not. It does no harm to anyone. But who is benefiting by your crazy self-devotion? Nor I. In any case, each word you utter is a dagger in my heart. At last, you have come back to me, and that's our language. You are speaking once again. Let me make sure that it is you, really you. Come back. But Diego steps quite quickly back, showing the plague marks on him. She moves her hands forward, then hesitates. Come, come. Let me take me. Come. Let me take you in my arms. You have nothing to fear now. The groans and imprecations in the background grow louder. Diego gazes blankly around him like a madman, then abruptly hurries away. Diego, no, he has forsaken me. I am alone. Alone.
We are the guardians of the race. This ordeal is more than we can cope with. We can but wait for it to end. So let us hold our peace until winter comes, bringing the hour of liberation when these groans and curses cease and our men come back to us, clamoring for what they treasure in their memories and cannot do without. The freedom of the great sea spaces, empty skies of summer, love's undying fragrance. But meanwhile, we are like autumn leaves drenched by the September gales, which hover for a while in air and then are dragged down by the weight of water in them. We too are drooping earthward with bent backs, and until the day when these battle cries have spent their force, we listen only to the slow tides of happiness murmuring deep down within us. When the bare boughs of the almond trees grow bright with frost flowers, we should straighten up a little, fanned by our rising wind of hope, and soon in that second springtime, we shall hold our head high once more. Then those we love will turn again to us, and as they draw near step by step, we shall be like those heavy boats the tide lifts inch by inch from the mud flats, steeped in brine and reeking with the harsh tang of the sea, until at last you see them dancing on the waves. Ah, if only the wind would rise. If only the wind would rise. Darkness. Then light plays on the wharf.
Yeah, it's okay. Hmm.
Do you like have to go? Do you have to go because 56 पेजेस हो गया है और कल ना 1 घंटे में खत्म हो जाएगा आधे 1 घंटे में फटाफट only like not many pages are left 20 हाँ no, no,
नहीं नहीं नहीं,
I'm free Sunday कोई
पूरा अनएम्प्लॉयड एकदम. Yep.
let's complete okay
Ahoy there, ahoy. What are you up to? Shit, shit. Very, very sorry. I did.
अरे ऊपर हो गया
I did
नीचे
the same thing again, and I'm very yeah. Yeah. What are you up to for the city? That's forbidden by the authorities. Take me with you. One of those ships you spoke of. Just now you said you didn't know anything about the regulations. Can't be trusted? What do you mean? Bring what? Look here, I'll pay you well. As I said, I won't haggle over the terms. Yes.
I'll play the second. No, you're not to go.
What the devil?
It's a contingency that's not provided for. Also, I know you better. You won't desert your post.
Nothing will prevent me from going.
That's where you're mistaken. If I wish you to stay, you will stay. And in fact, I do wish you to stay. Have some business to transact with you. You know who I am, don't you? She moves back some steps as if to draw him away from the edge of the wharf. Diego follows her.
Nothing. But to die degraded?
I understand, mind you, I'm a mere executive. But by the same token, I've been given a sort of jurisdiction over you. The right of veto, if I may put it so.
Consults your notebook. The men of my blood belong to the earth, and to the earth alone.
That's what I meant. You belong to me after a fashion only, mind you. Perhaps not in the way I'd like you to be mine. When I look at you, no, I'm rather taken by you, really. Unfortunately, I have my orders.
I prefer you hated to your smiles, and I despise you.
Have it your own way. In any case, this talk we're having isn't quite in order. But I find that tiredness often makes me sentimental. Sometimes I find myself losing grip a bit, especially on nights like tonight. Fiddling the notebook between her fingers, Diego tries to snatch it from her. No, darling, don't be naughty. What would you see in it anyhow if you got it? Just lines and lines of entries. It's a sort of memorandum book, you see, a cross between a diary and a directory. My little memory jogger.
She stretches a hand toward Diego as if to fondle him, but he moves hastily back to where the boatman was. Ah, he's gone.
Yes, another simpleton who thinks he's out of it, but whose name is in my book like everybody else's.
You're double-tongued, and that, as you should know, is enough to put any man against you. So let's be done with it.
I don't know what you mean by double tongued.
Really, it's
Is
all.
is this mine or
Yeah,
is that?
it's all. सेक्रेटरी का ही है वो.
Acha. Really, it's all quite simple and above board. Every town has its list. This is the Cadiz list. Our organization's excellent, I can assure you. Nobody's left out.
Nobody's left out yet all escape.
How can you talk such nonsense? Still, I admit there are exceptions. Now and then we overlook someone, but he always ends up by giving himself away sooner or later. When a man reaches the age of 100, he can't help bragging about it, fool that he is. Then it gets onto the newspapers. It's only a question of time. When I read the morning papers, I note their names, collate them as we call it. Oh, never fear, we always get them in the end.
But for 100 years, anyhow, they have snapped their fingers at you, just like all the people in this city.
It's 100 years. Out loud, that sounds like a lot of time because you see these things from too near. But I can take a longer and broader view. In a list of 372,000 names, what does one matter? What does one man matter, I ask you? Even if he is a centenarian. In any case, we make up for it by pulling in a certain number of teenagers that levels up our average. It only means eliminating a bit quicker, like this. She crosses out an entry in her netbook. There is a cry out at sea and the sound of a body falling into the water. Oh, that was the boatman you were talking to. I did it without thinking. It was just a fluke.
Diego, who has risen to his feet, is gazing at her with horror and repugnance. You disgust me so much that I feel like vomiting.
Oh, I know, I have a beastly job. It's terribly exhausting, and then one has to be so meticulous. At the start, I fumbled a bit, but now I have a steady hand.
Keep away from me.
Really, I shouldn't tell you, it's a secret. Mistakes. We've invented a new system that will run like clockwork. Clockwork. Once it gets going, just wait and see. While speaking, she has been coming closer and closer to Diego. Suddenly trembling with rage, he grips her by the collar.
Stop this play acting, damn you. What are you waiting for? Get on with the job and don't try to play cat and mouse with me. I'm bigger than you. I'm bigger than you and you only knew it. So kill me, that's the only way of making good that wonderful system of yours, which leaves nothing to chance. But of course only masses count with you. It's It's only when you're dealing with 100,000 men or more than that you condescend to feel more interest. Then you can compile statistics, and statistics are conveniently dumb. It's easier working on a whole generation at an office table in silence with a restful smell of ink. But a single man, that's another story. He can upset your apple cart. He cries aloud his joys and griefs. As long as I live, I shall go on shattering your beautiful new order with the cries that rise up to my lips. Yes, I resist you. I resist you with all that energy that's in me.
My darling.
Keep silent. I'm of a race that used to honor death as much as life. But then your masters come along, and now both living and dying are dishonorable.
Well, it's true.
It's true that you're lying, that you will go on lying until the end of time. Yes, I've seen through your famous system. You have imposed on men the pangs of hunger and bereavement to keep their minds off any stirrings of revolt. You wear them down. You waste their time and strength so that they have neither the leisure nor the energy to vent their anger. So they just mark time. What is which is what you want, isn't it? Great as are their numbers, they are quite as much alone as I am. Each of us is alone because of the cowardice of the others. Yet alone, like them, I am humiliated, trodden down. I would have you know that you are nothing. And with this vast authority of yours, darkening the sky, there is more than a passing shadow cast upon the earth, a shadow that will vanish in a twinkling before a great storm wind of revolt. You thought that everything could be expressed in terms of figures, formulas, but when you were compiling your precious registers, you forgot the wild roses in the hedges, the signs in the sky, the smiles of summer, the great voice of the sea, the moments when man rises his wrath and scatters all before him. She laughs. Don't laugh. Don't laugh, you fool. You're doomed, I tell you. You and your associates. Even when you are flushed with victory, defeat is nothing at the door. Even, for there is in man, look at me and learn, an innate power that you will never vanquish. A gay madness born of mingled fear and courage, unreasoning yet victorious through all time. One day this power will surge up, and you will learn that all your glory is but dust before the wind. She laughs again. No, don't laugh. There's nothing to laugh about. She goes on laughing. She, he slaps her face, and at the same moment, the men in the chorus tear off their gags and utter great cry of joy. In this excitement, Diego has crushed out his plague mark. He touches the place where it was, then gazes at it in amazement.
Splendid. Simply splendid.
What do you mean?
You're simply splendid when you're angry. I like you even better.
But, but what's happened?
You can see for yourself the mark is disappearing. Carry on. You're going about it the right way.
Does that mean I'm cured?
No. Now I'm going to tell you a little secret. The system is excellent as you've observed. Still, there's a defect in their machine.
I don't follow.
It has a weak point, darling. As far back as I can remember, the machine has always shown a tendency to break down when a man conquers his fear and stands up to them. I won't say it stops completely, but it creaks and sometimes it actually begins to fold up.
Why do you tell me that?
Oh, even when one has to do all this, one can't help having a soft spot, and you've discovered mine.
Would you have spared me if I hadn't struck you?
No, I came here to finish you off according to the rules.
So I'm the stronger?
Tell me, are you still afraid?
No.
No. Then I can't do anything to harm you. That too is down in the regulations. I don't mind telling you that it's the first time I'm glad about that loophole in our code.
She moves away slowly. Diego runs his hand over his chest, glances at his hand again, then quickly swings around the gazes in the direction whence groans are coming. The scene that follows uh, is in pantomime. He goes toward a man who is still gagged and lying on the ground and undoes the gag. It is the fishermen. The two men eye each other in silence for some moments. Uh, yes, the wind is rising. That was wind act. Okay, that was intense and that was very much fun. Like इसमें कितनी similarities है मुझे तो एक तो ये anime की feel आ रही है देख देख के I'll, I am imagining it in like anime kind of animation. Maybe he wants to write it down. It's and that like जो the secretary है like have you watched Death Note? अरे you should, like don't watch that Netflix thing that जो उन्होंने adapt किया है that is like bullshit. Watch the anime. Shan,
Hello. Uh,
hello.
Hello. या मेरा वॉइस ब्रेक हो गया था, सॉरी, डिस्कनेक्ट हो गया।
Mhm.
ओह, इट इज लाइक इट इज वेरी, इट इज नॉट, वी आर नॉट यूज्ड टू दिस, मतलब लंबे लंबे एकदम खींचे हुए डायलॉग्स है और काफी मतलब अलग अलग एलिमेंट से करते हैं। अभी पहले खत्म करते फिर देखते हैं क्या सीन है, ठीक है?
एक छोटा सा एक्ट बचा है
या
बस शान शान इस
या ओनली लाइक 18 पेजेस।
क्या बराबर 18 हाँ
हम्म।
शान थर्ड पार्ट इफ यू कैन स्टार्ट
ओके, तो ओके, ठीक है। The townsfolk of Cadiz are moving about in the public square, engaged in various tasks that Diego, standing at a slightly higher level, supervises. A brilliant lightning brings out the artificiality of the stage properties set up by the plague, and thus renders them less impressive. Rub out the stars. Okay. Rub out the stars. The stars are obliterated. Open the windows. Windows are opened. Group the sick together. The crowd obeys. Make more space for them. Good. Now stop being frightened. That's the one condition of deliverance. Let all of you who can rise to the feet. Why are you cowering like that? Hold up your heads. The hour of pride has struck. Throw away your gags and proclaim with me that you stop being afraid. Raising his arm, O spirit of revolt, glory of the people, and vital protest against death. Give give these gagged men and power the power of your voice. You will lose your bread and olives and your lives as well if you let things continue as they are. Even if all you want is to keep your daily bread, you must begin by fighting down your fear. Spirit of Spain awake.
Okay. We are mm, shit, again. Sorry. Here they are again. The men scratching at the concerns of men. But we are here to remind you of moments that fall into your hands like sun-ripe fruit, of days fried with flowers and black wool of eaves, the scent of sights of Spain. And you, we are weak, and you, with your big bones, can always master this. But none of the less, we do not forget our flowers of flesh.
It is the plague that is wearing us to the bone, parting lovers, withering the flowers of our days. And our first duty is to fight the plague. The winter of your wrath, let that be your beginning. Cease talking of despair. Despair is a gag. And today the thunder of hope and a lightning flash of happiness are shattering the silence of this beleaguered city. Stand up, I tell you, and act like men. Tear up your certificates, smash the windows of their offices, leave the ranks of fear, and shout your freedom to the four winds of heaven.
Yeah. Uh,
Mm.
what's all this commotion about? Will you be good enough to replace your gags at once? Some of the crowd connectivity issues had. Will you please? Yeah. Huh. So yeah, they are getting out of hand as usual. Well, we must take severer measures. Yes, sir. You talk too much. But the regulations do not suppress everything. Watch your step, my man. You're not in line. You go back to your work, you drunken sot, and you, my dear, get busy. Not random. That way. It's more expressive. Long live death. You no longer frighten us. And,
Impossible.
uh, uh,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, okay. Eliminate that man.
Impossible.
Why?
He has ceased being afraid.
You didn't say so. Does he know?
He has suspicions.
Go to the help of those who fall.
Some movements of the crowd universe. One.
Yeah, where is it? Where am I exactly?
Yeah.
That fellow is really going too far.
I just say he's going far.
Why do you say this? Why do you sound so sad about it? Sound so sad about it? You haven't by any chance let him know how things stand, have you?
No, he must have found that out for himself. A sort of clairvoyance. Right now, it's going
But I have the means of action. We shall have to try new tactics. I leave their choice to you. Stranglehold. Huh?
ignorant, ignorant as we are, this much we know that two men should not be paid for these good things. Everywhere in the world, and whoever be the master, there will always be fresh fruit for the plucking, the poor man's cup of wine, a fire of wine twigs at which we can warm our hands, waiting for better times. The, the judge's story jumps out of a window in the judge's house, across to the group of women, and hides sound. The secretary. Really, you would think we were in the midst of a revolution, but that is not the case, as you are well aware. Anyhow, it is the masses who launch revolutions nowadays, and it's no use trying to put the clock back. Modern revolutions don't need insurgents. The police attend to and everything every in power. And when you think of it, isn't that a great improvement? That way, the common people can take it easy. Some some kind souls do all the thing for them and decide what modicum of welfare they can do with. So, let wouldn't you do best to let it go at that? Once a government has settled in, it always costs more than it's worth to change it. Even if the present system strikes you as intolerable, there is always the hope of getting some concessions. How can I tell you? But surely you women realize that even that every upheaval costs a lot of suffering, and a good appeasement often pays better than a ruinous victory. Note 7-2. Leave Diego's group. Don't listen. Don't listen. Don't listen. All she said has been thought up in advance. What do you mean by thought up? I'm talking common sense. That's all. Well, it's difficult to answer that right off. Still, to give an example, I don't see why shouldn't. Why we shouldn't join with you in appointing a committee to decide by a majority of votes what elimination should be ordered, and this notebook in which the eliminations are made would be kept in the possession of the committee. Mind you, I'm only saying this by way of illustration of an arrangement we might come to. She's dangling the notebook at her arm's length. A man snatches it from her hand. She addresses him with feigned indignation. Will you give me back that notebook at once? You know quite well how valuable it is, and that's and that it's enough to strike out the name of one of your fellow citizens for him to die on the spot. Men and women crowd uh, excitedly round the man who has the notebook. Cries of jubilation. We've got it. That's cooked their goose. We're saved. The judge's daughter runs up, snatches away the book, and after retreating to a corner and skimming through the pages, strikes out an intake. A student guy in the judge's house, I felt body falling heavily on the floor. Men and women rush at the girl. A voice.
Yeah, yeah, I'm here. The plague to Diego. You see, they're doing the work themselves. Do you really think they're worth all the trouble you're taking? But meanwhile, Diego and the fisherman have leaped onto the raised platform where the who holds the notebook is standing and knocked him down. Takes the notebook and tears it up.
That's not,
It? Oh, sorry. It's someone else's
it's
signature.
okay. That's no good. I have a duplicate. Diego hustles the men downward toward the other side of the stage.
Diego? You go, Diego.
Was I
Not the
Diego?
piano. Yeah, you take Diego then. Diego, Secretary, and Plague, three main characters, I guess.
Aditya, you were Diego. Yeah.
I'll take the Plague. I'll take the Plague, you take Diego, and let's sort of continue with Secretary.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
तो कोई नहीं change हाँ
हाँ, तो फिर then we'll give Nada to him, okay?
हाँ
Okay, okay.
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 So that's no good. I have a duplicate. Diego hustles the men toward the other side of the stage.
Diego,
Me? Oh, get back to your work. You've been tricked.
when they're frightened, their fear is for themselves, but their hatred is for others.
Neither fear nor hatred. Therein lies our victory. The guards
The
retreat.
guards retreat before Diego's men. Silence. I am he who turns the wine bitter and dries up the fruit. I nip the young wine when it is putting forth its grapes and rot it when it needs the fire of summer. I loathe your simple joys. I loathe the system in which men claim to be free without being rich. I have prisons and executioners on my side. Power and blood are my ministers. The city will be wiped out, and upon its ruins, history will expire at last in the august silence of all perfect social orders. Silence then, or I destroy everything. A mimic hand to hand conflict ensues between Diego's partisans and others in the midst of an appalling din. Thuds of eliminations buzzing in the air, creakings of garrotes, an avalanche of slogans. Then, while the struggle gradually turns in favor of Diego's men, the tumult dies down and the voices of the chorus, indistinct as yet, the plague with a final gesture. We still have the hostages. He makes up the sign, and the playgrounds and the plague guards leave the stage, while the others form up once more in groups. Nada.
Okay. So another.
Nada is
Okay.
there is Nada, yeah.
We are in flight. Summer is ending without our victory. So, after all, man has won the day. And for us, victory takes the form of our women's bodies quickened by the showers of love, of happy flesh, warm and glistening like the clusters of September grapes round which the wood wasps buzz. Harvest of bellies wine press and wine spurts red over the tips of drunken breasts. Soon, O my love, you will see desire bursting like an overripe fruit and glory of bodies issuing at last in shining freedom. In every corner of the city, mysterious hands are proffering flowers. From quenchless fountains, the golden wine is flowing. Now is the festival of victory. Let us make haste to join our women. All fall silent as a stretcher Miss Victoria lies. Is carried forward. Diego rushes towards. Oh shit! Myself. Ah, this makes me want to kill or to die. He stands beside the body which seems lifeless. Oh Victoria, most glorious of women, fierce and unconquerable as love. Turn your face toward me, if only for a moment. Come back, Victoria. Do not let yourselves be lured away to that dim place beyond the world where you will be lost to me forever. Do not leave me. The earth is cold. Struggle to keep your foothold on this narrow ledge of life where we are still together, and do not let yourself slip down into the abyss. For if you die, it will be the dark at noon on all the days that are given to me to live. Yeah. Okay. It's not too late. It's not. Look, she's trying to rise. Yes, Victoria. Once again, I shall see you standing before me, straight as a torch, with the black flames of your hair dripping in the wind, and that glory of love upon your face, whose radiance was ever with me in the darkest hour. For I had you with me in the thickest of the fight, and my heart saw you, me, and my heart saw me through.
Who's playing Victoria? Okay, okay. I'll play. You'll forget me, that's certain. The heart will not see you through the years of absence. Did it not fail you in the hour of misfortune only a while ago? Ah, how cruel it is to die knowing one of us, knowing one will be forgotten, turns away.
I shall not forget you. My remembrance will outlast okay, my remembrance will outlast my life.
Chorus of The plague will come up quietly, facing Diego across Victoria's body. Where do you throw in your hand? Diego gazes with despair at Victoria's body. Your strength has turned to weakness. Your eyes are wavering, but I have the steady gaze of power.
Let her live and kill me instead.
What's that you say?
I propose an exchange.
What exchange?
My life for hers.
That's
पहले हाँ तुम्हारी आवाज आ रही है शान की नहीं आ रही. Yeah, it's the sort of notion one has when once the stronger. Take off your uniform. Strip, I tell you. When strong men take off their uniforms, they are not pretty sights. Mine lies in rejecting them. Well, I stand by my offer. Life is nothing. What what count for me are my reasons for living. I'm not a dog.
the first cigarette of the day. Will you tell me that is nothing? And the smell of dust at noon on the Rambla, rain falling through the dusk, a woman unknown as yet, a second glass of wine. Do these mean nothing to you?
They mean something, yes. But this girl will never will live better. They mean something, yes. But this girl will live better than I.
No, provided you give up troubling yourself about others.
No, on the road I've chosen, th- there's there is no turning back. Even if one wants it, I shall not spare you.
Changing his tone. Now listen well. If you offer me your life in exchange for that girl's, I am bound to accept your offer. And she will live. But there's another arrangement we can make if you agree to it. I'll give you that girl's life and let you both escape, provided you let me make my own terms with this city.
No, I know my power.
In that case, I will be frank with you. For me, there can be no question of half measures. I must be master of all, or I am master of nothing. So if you escape me, this city escapes me. That's the law. An ancient law whose origin I do not know.
But I do. It comes from the abyss of time. It is greater than you, loftier than your gibbets. It is the nature of law. We have found the day.
Not yet. I have this girl's body as my hostage. And this hostage is the last trump in my hand. If any woman has life written on her face, it's she. She deserves to live, and you wish to have her life. I am bound to give her back to you, but only in exchange for your life or for the freedom of the city. Make your choice. Diego gazes at Victoria. In the background, murmuring of voices muted by the gags. He turns towards the chorus.
It is hard to decide.
It is hard to die.
It is hard to die.
Yes, it's hard.
But it's hard for them as well.
You fool, don't you realize that 10 years of this girl's love are worth far more than a century of freedom for those men?
This girl's love is my private property, and I can deal with it as I choose. But those men's freedom belongs to them. I have no rights over it.
No one can be happy without causing harm to others. That's justice.
The justice that revolts me and to which I refuse to subscribe.
Who asked you to subscribe to it? The scheme of things will not be changed just because you'd like it to be otherwise. But if you really want to change it, abandon idle dreams and face up to reality.
No, I know those stale old arguments. To do away with murder, we must kill, and to prevent injustice, we must do violence. That's been done. That's been done into our ears till we took it for granted. For centuries, fine gentlemen of your kind have been inflicting the world's wounds on the pretense of healing them, and nonetheless continuing to boast of their treatment. No, because no one had the courage to laugh them out of court.
No one laughs. Done. I'm efficient.
Efficient, I don't deny, and practical, like the handsman's axe. Regimen.
But isn't it enough to watch the way that men behave? You very soon realize that any kind of justice is good enough for them.
Since the gates of this city were closed, I have had ample time for watching.
In that case, you certainly have learned that they will always fail you. You will always be alone, and the lonely man is doomed.
No, that's false. If I were alone, everything would be easy. But whether they want it or not, they are with me.
And what a fine herd they make. For one thing, they stink.
And I know they are not pure, nor am I, for that matter. After all, I was born among them, and I live for my city at my age.
An age of slaves.
No, the age of free men.
Free men? You amaze me. I can't see any here. Where are they?
In your prisons and your charnel houses, the slaves are on the thrones.
Then only dress up your free men in my policemen's uniforms and see what they become.
I don't deny that they can be cowardly and cruel at times. That is why they have no better right than you to hold the reins of power. No man is good enough to be entrusted with absolute power. That I grant you. But by the same token, that is why these men are entitled to compassion, whereas you are not.
The coward's way of living is to live as they do, in ant-like lives, never rising above mediocrity.
On that level, I can feel at one with them. And if I am not faithful to the humble truth I share with them, how could I feel faith with the greater, lonelier ideal that is mine?
The only fidelity I know is Spawn. Points to the chorus covering in the background. Look, isn't that enough?
I deserve my scorn for the oppressors. Whatever you do, these men will be greater than you. When one of them kills, he does it in a gust of passion. But you slaughter people logically, legally, cold-bloodedly. Why scoff at the bowed heads when for so many generations the comets of fear have been probing the skies above them? Years is when for centuries that has been playing havoc with them, tearing their love like waste paper. The worst of their crimes has always had an excuse. But I find no excuse for the wrong that has been done that has done them since the dawn of time, and which you have realized in your foul code. The plague approaches him. No, I will not lower my eyes.
Yes, obvious. Will not lower them. So I may as well tell you that you have come through the last ordeal with success. If you had made over this city to me, you would have lost this girl and you too would have been lost. As it is, this city has a good chance of being free. So as you see, a madman like yourself suffices. Naturally, the madman dies, but in the end, sooner or later, the rest are saved, and they don't deserve to be saved.
The madman dies.
Oh, on second thought, you're not so sure. But of course, that's quite an order. A last minute hesitation. Pride will triumph in the end.
I stood for honor, and today I shall regain my honor only among the dead.
As I was saying, it's pride that kills them. But all this is very tiring for an old man like myself. Get ready.
I am ready.
There are the marks. They hurt. Diego gazes horror struck at the marks which have reappeared on him. Good. So for a reason which I will not tell you how I can insist on. When hatred flames up in me, the suffering of others is a healing dew. Groan a little. That does me good. Let me watch your suffering before I leave this city. To the secretary. Now then, my dear, get to work. Aditya,
Yes,
please get to work.
sorry, Aditya.
Tired already, is that it? The secretary nods, and as she does, her whole aspect changes, and she becomes an old woman with a death's head face. Always knew her hatred did not strike deep enough. Insatiable. I must ever have new victims. Well, things get over quickly, and we'll begin elsewhere. Mere words. If you want something to uphold you, you can find it. Points to Diego, who sinks onto his knees in the pleasure of destruction. That anyhow falls within your duties. What a, what authority have you to question my orders? Who wants your
What?
help? You'd better not to irritate me. We have no need for pity. That's enough. I order you to keep silent. Diego is collapsing. The plague helps him to his feet. The plague. Stand up, man. The end cannot come until my charming companion takes the necessary steps. As if she's indulging in sentiment just now. Don't be afraid, she'll do her duty. It's in the rules and she knows what is expected of her. The machine is creaking a bit, that's all. But before it folds completely, you shall have your wish, young fool. I give you back the city. Chorus. The plague turns towards them. Yes, I'm going, but do not overdo your glee. I'm pleased with myself here too. We've made a success of it. I like my name to live upon men's lips, and I know you. कितने पेज हो गए?
Yeah.
And I know you will not forget me. Look at me. Look for the power in the world. Acclaim your one true monarch and learn to fear. In the old days, you professed to fear God and his caprices, but your God was an anarchist. He played fast and loose with logic, autocratic and kind-hearted at the same time. That was obviously wishful thinking, if I may put it so. I, anyhow, know better. I stand for power and power alone. Yes, I've chosen domination, but I will not field cities with dead bodies. Hello? Okay, okay. My victims have fertilized the sands of Libya and black Ethiopia. The soil of Persia still is fat with the sweat of my corpses. I filled Athens with the fires of purification, paddled on her beaches thousands of funeral pyres, and spread the seas of Greece so thick with ashes that the blue gray yes, even poor gods were revolted by my doings. Then, when the temples replaced cathedrals, my black howling mobs. For years untold, on all five continents, I have been without compunction. As systems go, mine was not a bad one. There was a sound idea behind it. Nevertheless, that idea was somewhat narrow. If you want to know the way I feel about it, I'll say a dead man is refreshing enough, but he's not remunerative, not nearly so rewarding as a slave. The great thing is to secure a majority of slaves by a means of a minority of well selected death. With improved technique, we can now bring this off. That's why, after having killed,
Patience. Yeah.
that's why after having killed or humiliated the requisite number of persons, we shall have whole nations on their knees. No form of beauty or art can make them bow to us.
We shall.
Who can tell? Men are not so unintelligent as you may think, and very likely figure out. Sounds like people moving in the distance. Listen, my stars in the ascendant once again. Those are your former masters returning, and you will find them blind as ever to the wounds of others, sodden with inertia and forgetfulness of the lessons of the past. And when you see stupidity getting the upper hand again without struggle, you will lose heart. Cruelty works, but stupidity disheartens. All honor then to the stupid who prepare my ways. They are my hope and strength. Perhaps there will come a day when self sacrifice will seem quite futile, and the never ending clamor of your rebels will at last. Then I shall reign supreme in the dead silence of men's servitude. It's just a question of sticking to it, isn't it? But never fear, I have the low brow of the stubborn man. Love? What's that?
Oh, Diego, what have you done to our happiness? And talk like that, my love. That's one of those horrible things men say. No one has the right to be glad to die. No, you should have chosen. All, though all the powers of heaven forbade you, you should have preferred me to the whole earth. But did your strength matter to me? It was you, the man you were, that I loved. Then take me with you. Ah, it was too simple, wasn't it? To love each other in silence and to endure together whatever had to be endured. I preferred your fear, Diego. But that wasn't enough. No, even that was not enough. You loved me with your soul, perhaps, but I wanted more than that. Far more. The secretary stretches her hand toward Diego. The death agony begins there while the women hasten toward Victoria and gather around her. For
Okay, here they are, the old gang. They all are coming back. The men of the past, the fossils, the pretenders, the triflers who tongue comfortable, the army of tradition. They are all back. They are the heroes of zero naturally. Here they come, the tailors of nonsense. You have your new suit. No need to worry. My method is the best. Instead of shutting the mouths of those who air their grievances, they shut their own ears. We were numb, we are going to be deaf. Trumpet calls. Look, the writers of history are coming back, and we shall soon be reading all about our heroes of the plague. We'll be kept nice and cool under the flagstones, but there's nothing to complain of. The company above the flagstones is really too mixed. Burial ceremonies are taking place in pantomime. Look, see what they're up to, conferring decorations on each other. The banquet halls of hatred are always open. The soil is never so exhausted that the deadwood of the gallows fails to rise from it. The blood of those you call the just ones still glistens on the walls. What are those fine fellows up to? Giving each other medals. You are going to have your prize day speeches. But before the platforms, but before the platform is brought forward, I'd like to give you mine. A few well chosen words. That young man with help liking died cheated. The fisherman with a rush at Nada. The guards arrest him. As you see, fishermen and governments may come and go. Police are always with us. So after all, justice does exist. He says, turning to my disgust. Yes, you are going to start again, but henceforth, it's no concern of mine, and don't count on me to supply you with the plaintive. Plaintiveness is not my line. So now, old world, it's time for me to leave you. Your executioners are tired, their hatred's gone to cold. I know too many things. Even scorn has had its day. So goodbye, my worthy fellow citizens. One day you'll find out for yourselves that man is nothing but hideous.
And we have finished.